I am Volcano's good, and I won Freezai's Trademarked tournament. What is Trademarked? Trademarked is a metagame on Pokemon Showdown, other metagames. The OM of the month. Trademarked lets you pick a move as your ability as long as it's a status move with many bans, and it will activate upon switching every time you switch in. So I heard there was a $100 tournament that Freezai was hosting without playing any Trademarked at all for the entire month. I decided to, on stream, play some Trademark to get familiar with the tier. So I did 2 separate streams of it. However, the Trademarked ladder was not updated with all the bans, so I was getting dumpstered by Focus Energy Heathflame while I was trying to use things that would be banned in the tournament and were already banned on the Smogon forum, but not banned on the ladder yet because it wasn't updated, and I was just having the worst time. Then I finally put together a team that was not only good enough for me to do in the tournament, but it was good enough for me to do amazingly on ladder, even with the bans not updated. This team was doing better than the broken Pokemon on the ladder. So, this team that I put together for the Trademark tournament, it was a hazard stacked focused team with the first Pokemon being Great Tusk. Great Tusk, I gave it Rocky Helmet, and its ability, I gave it Stealth Rock. As the attacks, Knock Off, Ice Spin, or Headlong Rush, Rapid Spin, this Pokemon is supposed to come in as early and often as possible to get up Stealth Rocks as much as I needed to, get some Rocky Helmet to do some chip damage on U-turners, knock off some boots so I can make him take chip damage, spin away Hash on my side, and threaten things with a max attack invested Great Tusk. The next Pokemon was Ogerpon Wellspring. Wellspring, as you may know, is a fantastic Pokemon. Wellspring forms the Hazard Stack core with Great Tusk by having its ability being Spikes, so every time it comes in, you get Spikes, obviously it stacks. Ivy Cudgel, Power Whip, Knockoff, Sword Stance, going for 3 attacks, SD, pretty regular set. I do just want to get as strong knockoff as possible and really just break down teams. So I can knock off their most important defensive Pokemon's boots, and then start chipping it down with hazards for Ogerpon to later sweep, or just get crit by Ivy Cudgel. High critical hit ratio move, very good in this tier where everything can run screens or iron defense. I also went for Ogerpon to give me a ground resist because Gravity Lantern is something that I thought of and chat told me about. I think that could be a good idea. I never ended up running it, but I thought it could be a good idea, and I don't want to just lose instantly to that because I have Corviknight on the team. And then we got Reflect the Darkness, the Dragapult. I gave him his ability Reflect, and I gave the item Leftovers because I was thinking that honestly, it's pretty tough to force Dragapult out in this metagame without switching a lot. And Hazard should not really be a problem for me because the opponent would prioritize getting rid of Hazard on their side versus stacking them on my side. I also thought that I could potentially keep Rocks off of my side with Great Tusk's Rapid Spin. For the Dragapult side, I went with Dragon Darts, Will-O-Wisp, U-Turn, Hex, Max Attack, minus Spadef. I did this because I wanted Darts to be my main attacking move. Hex is more of a auxiliary move meant to take out things that are already burnt, like Corviknight, things that are physically defensive and can stop the Dragon Darts in general. Darts, I wanted the max invested to really punish Blissey, who is the only Pokemon that can heal things with Heal Bell, and Dragapult can just Wisp Hex through everything else. Dragapult was a very, very impressive Pokemon on testing and ladder. I didn't see many Dragapults at all in this metagame, but Dragapult is definitely very good. Dragapult's in like a weird spot where its normal ability is solid, but giving it Reflect just really does make it a lot better than its normal abilities, even though its normal abilities are honestly pretty good. Like, Great Tusk has a pretty useless normal ability in photosynthesis. You're not really going to see a lot of use in that other than like booster energy attack or whatever. It's not that good. Wellspring's ability is pretty decent, especially in this tier. You do kind of miss not having water absorb. The big thing for Wellspring is that it does lose water absorb but gains spikes. Spikes are very cool to just keep up hazards as much as it comes in. You can just get up hazards, which is very awesome. However, you do miss water absorb, especially for Alola Mala, who you saw a lot of with Flip Turn and Wish as its trademarked ability. Very annoying Pokemon because it could just heal up anything if it just switched in, wished, and then Flip Turned out. Ogerpon could have prevented that with water absorb if it was regular, but no, it loses its ability to gain spikes. And Dragapult, I gave it Terra Dragon to really punish Blissey and to increase the damage of Dragon Darts. I think that's the best Terra to run on this kind of Dragapult. I've used a lot of these specific exact spreads on Dragapults before. We got Alistair the Corviknight. Corviknight is a very good Pokemon. Every single other metagames, you might have seen my Stink Post Sunday post on r/Stunfisk, in which I call Corviknight the MVP of 6 different tiers. The long and short of it is, if your tier is an OU-based metagame, Corviknight is almost certainly good in it. It's really, really hard to not make Corviknight a Pokemon with impressive physical bulk and one of the best typings in the game, if not arguably the best typing in the game, of Flying Steel, definitely inarguably the best physically defensive typing in the game. It's impossible to make this Pokemon bad unless you invert the type chart. In this metagame, Corviknight is a huge centralizing Pokemon. It can run ability Defog, the screens, can run Iron Defense. I chose Iron Defense on mine with Rocky Helmet. So we have 2 helmet mods, get some chip damage off early and often. We have Roost, U-Turn, Defog, Body Press. Noticeably, I did not go min speed minus because I was scared of King Gambit. Obviously, for Corviknight, we went max defense. I gave this one Terra Fighting, specifically for King Gambit. I did not see that many King Gambits, but I do think it's a solid Pokemon. One of the things it's really good for is actually Weavile, who's a fantastic Pokemon in this meta. Homeclaw's Weavile is a huge threat, and Corviknight just pretty much completely shuts it down. I didn't see any Weaviles with Terra Ghost SD with the Homeclaws as their ability. But if I did, that would have been a problem. I might have to put Braver on this thing. Luckily, I did not see that at all on ladder or in the tournament. We got Toma the Slowking Galar. He's getting his head bitten. I gave him Black Sludge to counter any trick shenanigans the opponent might do. Also, don't think the Terra on Glowking is usually used that often. I'm fine running Black Sludge as punish trick more than Terra-ing. It's never really bitten me in the back using Black Sludge. I think people underrate Black Sludge in Gen 9 because, well, what if I Terra though? But what if you get tricked? Like, I get tricked more than I Terra that's Glowking. That definitely not be true in standard play because you need Terra and Glowking to invert the typing for Kyurem and a bunch of other stuff. But Glowking with Light Screen as its ability is absurdly bulky. Even if it gets hit super effectively on the special attacking side, it will still not take that much. It is a very absurdly bulky Pokemon. For my set, I went with Slack Off, Toxic, Sludge Bomb, Chilly Reception. Noticeably, you cannot touch Steel types with this set. That did come up quite often, but I thought this was still the best set. Sludge Bomb to punish real switch-ins. I didn't want to be ineffective versus dark types. I'd rather be ineffective versus steel types rather than ineffective versus dark types, which I would have been if I were Psychic Noise over that. I went with Toxic to beat any setup Pokemon. I think you definitely need Toxic in a metagame like this. I really like having Toxic on Slowking Galar for like Raging Bolt and other stuff. Raging Bolt's more standard play, but it does just help in general with a lot, even in a tier like Trademarked. I was not upset with the Toxic at all. Chilly Reception, min speed, obviously. Slowly let in my bigger threats like get Dragapult in for free, get Wellspring in for free, or get my last Pokemon in for free. And for the set, we just went with 248 HP, 8 defense, and max speed F. And next, we have the GOAT, Accelerator, the King Gambit. I might have been the only person using King Gambit throughout the tour. I don't remember anyone else using King Gambit. I don't remember many King Gambits on the ladder. I do think King Gambit is very good in this tier. And the thing about King Gambit is you don't need to change his ability. So for my Accelerator King Gambit, I went with Choice Banded King Gambit with Defiant as the ability. Now, why did I do this? Well, it's because my game plan was to stack hazards. You know, earlier I talked about how you could trademarked Defog as an ability for Corviknight. Well, my thought process was that I'd switch out from like Wellspring or Great Tusk, fasten the opponent, and I'd catch them on a switch into Corviknight with my King Gambit. So my King Gambit would be in first, and they would defog as they switch in, giving me +2 attack and just killing something immediately. Because if I thought this didn't happen, then I think I could just stack hazards and just win the game outright, which would happen in many games. This didn't really come into play like at all that often. I think overall Supreme Overlord would have been more useful. However, it is very cool. I went with Terra Dark King Gambit, going for a max attack as possible, just trying to absolutely obliterate things. I went with the spread to outspeed Corviknight handily at 178 speed and then 88 attack, or 88 HP max attack, obviously. Katao, Ironhead, low kick, Sucker Punch. If you're running 4 attack King Gambit, it'd be a pretty weird set to not run those for. I think you can run one Pokemon with its regular ability. I saw someone else use a Chi-Yu with its regular ability. I think having a breaker with its regular ability, if it helps it to just break, because it could be more useful than something like Hone Claws, which lets you get hazed, or Calm Mind, which is playable around. Depends on the ability, depends on the Pokemon, but sometimes the regular ability can be more useful than any sort of trademarked ability. For instance, Supreme Overlord with 5 Fallen would essentially be worth the Hone Claws, or even better. I don't know the math behind that, but I think it's 50% stronger. I know Hone Claws is 50% stronger. So, that was my team. I played 2 days with it, and then Sunday came, the time for the tournament for me, 12 or 1 p.m. Cannot remember for the life of me. However, the tournament being lunchtime actually came to bite me in the ass on the day of the tournament. Because I found out the morning of Sunday, it did take place on Mother's Day. I knew we were going out to a fancy steakhouse on Mother's Day. However, I thought we were going out for dinner. I did not know we were going out for lunch. But you know what? I shrugged, and I'm like, you know what? It's okay. Because it's a Freezai tournament. So what I mean by that is it's a YouTuber tournament. So by process of elimination, most of the people joining would be complete jobbers. Not anything against Freezai's audience or whatever. But as a YouTuber who's big, your audience is like thousands of people, and the amount of people who are actually good at Pokemon, in the sense that I would call them good, which means they're actually like excellent. But the amount of people who are excellent at Pokemon, that number is like 500 or less. I like to compare Pokemon to college football, in that there are D1 schools. In Pokemon's case, it's D1 players, very, very high-ranked players, very, very skillful. And in an open tournament, they'd be playing against a lot of D3s, a lot of D2s, some poorer D1s. There are only a few real challenges for them to go into. However, that does not mean every round or every game is free for them. Any given Sunday applies to football, applies to Pokemon as well. Anyone can beat anyone. It's Pokemon. Most people would be complete free wins for me, so I thought I could just breeze through the tournament pretty easily, especially at the start. And because I watched Freezai's Mariomon tournament, I knew that his viewer base were actually scumbag nerds who ran stall. So I would have a bunch of time to not even care about it, because people would be stuck in stall, and I'm obviously not going to bring a stall. I will never bring stall in Gen 9. You will never catch the GOAT bringing stall in Gen 9. Stall is ass this gen. Stall will always be ass this gen. If you use stall, you're a bum. So it's 12 p.m. and I pull out my phone and get in the car and hop on Pokemon Showdown, getting ready to do a $100 trademark tournament on my phone. So in the car ride, I pull out my phone and my brother leans over to try to watch, and I try to explain an other metagames tier to someone who has casual knowledge of Pokemon. He plays a few in games and ROM hacks, but he's not playing any Showdown or anything. So I'm trying to explain to him what my Pokemon are doing when he doesn't even know what Dragapult is. He's like, wow, that guy looks cool. He didn't know any of the Pokemon on my team, considering all of them are new. I don't think he knew a single Pokemon on my team other than Corviknight, who we knew from the Gen 8 game. I don't believe he ever saw a Dragapult. Is there a boss with Dragapult? I can't even remember. However, I was completely right because, wow, those were some of the freest wins. I played 2 days of this metagame as my entire metagame knowledge, and had one team going to the tournament. I had no problem cleaning house in the early parts of the tournament. Just get up hazards, just play cautiously, play safely, play quickly, and then you just win. They brought stall, they brought offense, they brought anything, didn't matter. No chance to beat me. The only game that was actually somewhat close was one where they crit 3 times and crit my Slowking through its light screen with a DOS. Luckily, however, Choice Banded Terra Dark King Gamut cleaned it up with 3 sucker punches to the neck. Bam, 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 bam. And then when we got to the steakhouse, I was actually already in the semifinals, and the other side of the bracket was not even close to being done. Like, I knew people were stalling, but damn, there were a lot of bums in the tournament. It was on, like, round 3, I want to say, when I was locked in for the semifinal. So I had 2 games left, and we just arrived at the steakhouse. At this point, my family are like, whoa, he can actually win $100. So they're actually asking questions and being interested. So my grandmother and uncle asked me about Pokemon, and I feel like a complete idiot playing Pokemon in the most expensive steakhouse in Boston. I've been to fancy steakhouses 2 times in my entire life. One was that day, Capitol Grill in Boston. The other was a place that I went to after I graduated college. And the second time, I was in a Pokemon tournament at the exact same time. Luckily, however, I didn't have to play like any game. I had my phone on my table open. We had a normal time there because I didn't have to deal with the tournament because everyone was stalling tournaments, so I had ample time to just not care. However, before the entrees were served, I had to get through the semifinal game. And that was my toughest game of the tournament so far versus someone who was actually pretty okay at the game. My opponent was Archie. They brought what can only be described as a semi-stall team. I misplayed early on because I was in the steakhouse and I wanted to end the game quickly by letting Ogerpon get Volt Switched on by a Scarf. What the fuck is the Magneton guy called? You know what I'm talking about? Sandy Shocks! Sandy Cox. That's who he is. Charge the ability lets him double the attacking damage from any electric type move it uses on the next attack only. And it Volt Switched on my Ogerpon. I tried to call his bluff with a Scarf. He was not bluffing, so I had no real reason to do that. So I lost 96% of my HP on Ogerpon very early on for no reason other than I wanted to hurry up the game. I saw the opponent's team and I was like, oh my god, what a loser. His avatar was very true to form. I bet that is what he looked like in real life. So he pussyfoot around. He burns my Dragapult on his first skull of the entire game. I get a burn the Corviknight with Dragapult. I do some a bit of damage with Dragapult. However, Dragapult cannot really take on Blissey that well anymore because it's burned and I have no way to heal burn. He can heal burn, which he does by switching to Blissey, which is terrible for me. I feel so down right now. I go to just knock things off, get some chip off. However, I feel like I'm really just losing the game right now. I try to just knock everything off, put myself in an okay position, and then I have to make I have to start making plays. So I start bringing King Gambit on doubles, try to catch the Corviknight. And the thing I said that would basically never work of using Defiant King Gambit to catch default Corviknight, it worked no other time except the semifinals when I needed it most. With a switch into King Gambit, I got +2 attack from Defiant as Corviknight switched in, defaulted my King Gambit, and Gorcha! Terra Dark Cataclysm to the face, 1 KO's Corviknight, taking out the hazard removal and putting me from the cuck chair into the driver's seat, going 900 miles an hour on the freeway into an elementary school. So I slowly and methodically whittle my opponent down from a position where I know that I am in the driver's seat because I get hazard up, I keep hazard up. Dragapult also functions as a spin blocker, especially in this game where he had a great Tusk. With Reflect up, it really does prevent Dragapult from being that annoyed by Great Tusk. I want to stack hazard up as soon as possible. He kills my Great Tusk, but I do not care. I lost Corviknight early on, but it does not matter to me. Sometime after I kill their Corviknight with King Gambit, the steak is finally served, and I know that I'm in a driver's position. So I'm eating this succulent steak while playing my opponent like an absolute fiddle, mixing and maxing my steak and buttery mashed potatoes. Truly just a divine meal and a divine game for the semifinals where I knew I was gonna win after I made such an early gameplay, took out the Corviknight. I got a porterhouse because someone suggested I should get a filet mignon, to which my uncle said, that's a girly cut. And so then I asked, what's the most manly cut then? To which he said, porterhouse. And I asked what a porterhouse is, and I was told it has filet mignon plus another part of the steak. Forget what. So I was like, oh, I'll just get it then. More food. My mom says that I should not get the porterhouse, that I will not be able to finish it. And I considered that a challenge. Archie tries a last Hail Mary. He goes out into a Lola Mole, gets a wish as the ability. It is in range to die to hazards. However, he makes a bold play on my paralyzed Slowking Galar and he flip turns from a Lola Mola into Great Tusk, hoping my Slowking Galar gets paralyzed. So we get a heal off and then spin off. So he just goes for a Parahack's chance to win, does not get it, and essentially loses the game after this turn. And King Gambit kills the remaining Pokemon with Sucker Punch. A fantastic performance from the king. You know, my family knows nothing about Pokemon, except for my brother who knows a little bit. They're all cheering me on. Like, yeah, you got this, win the $100. Bring it home, I think my dad said. My uncle joked that I could pay for everyone's food. I'm like, whoa, whoa. My mom wished me luck. Everyone was into it. Even my grandmother was asking a few questions, giving me some encouragement. And there's no way she even knows what a Pokemon is. It was very wholesome and a great experience. So we enjoy our nice steak dinner with the family while I am destroying someone in Pokemon. And then we move on to the finals. So I got $100 riding on the line. My family is actually pretty invested into the game. They're asking me how I'm doing throughout the game, somewhat annoyingly, but also encouragingly. I lead off with Dragapult, because I want to reflect up. Because earlier I played this team. Because I already played this team, so I had a way to deal with this team. This is the team that I told you Deoxys crit my Slowking Galarian, and I had a bit of trouble with it. However, I knew from experience that this thing's knockoff actually hits Slowking Galar way too hard. So I let off with Dragapult first, and then went to Slowking Galar to neuter the damage from knockoff. Because that would have put me in Expanding Force range, or another knockoff range, I forget. But regardless, it would have done a billion. So he goes for switch out to center to get the core change off. I go for Slack off to put myself at 100% HP. Bring out Great Tusk on a probably U-turn. He taunts instead. I don't know why it has taunt, to be honest with you. Go for a knockoff here. So this is huge. This means that every time Cinderace comes in, it will take rocks before it switches to rocks. However, it's also huge for him because he puts my Great Tusk on a timer, and Great Tusk is my thing that gets up Stealth Rocks. And his Cinderance removes Stealth Rocks every time it comes in. So this is one of the most high thought process games we gotta deal with. Corviknight comes in. It's level 99 Corviknight. I honestly hate this so much. Level 99, in case you don't know the technology behind it, it's that you have a slower pivoting moves than other Pokemon of the exact same species. So a level 99 Corviknight will underspeed a level 100 Corviknight if they both have min speed, 0 IV, minus nature investment. But it's stupid because Corviknight is not Blissey from Pure Hack or Chansey from Balance Hackmons, where this technology comes from. Okay, Corviknight is not something that can afford to remove 1% of its bulk for a niche, arguably useless tech like that. You're gonna lose because of 3 HP on Corviknight more than you're going to win because you undersped another Corviknight. That is a fact. The only time where level 99 is acceptable is when your Pokemon is so supremely bulky that it just does not matter. The only situation where this is really noticeable is Bounce Hackmons with level 99 Chansey and other stuff, because the Pokemon there are so bulky, it doesn't really matter if you're 1% less bulky than you would normally otherwise be. However, for here, and Speed Ties and Bounce Hackmons are so common, and pivoting on each other is so common and so obnoxiously annoying. But it's just not for these type of metagames. It's just so stupid to run it on these type of metagames. I hate the level 99 technology. I always tell you to not do it. I've talked about this in Guess the Elos many times. Do not make yourself level 99 for reasons like this. If you want to do yourself a favor, tally up every time you died to a roll versus tally up every time that being slower than the same Pokemon as yourself actually won you the game. Alright guys, let's get back into it. I'm done with my rant about the idiocy of this. I knock off his helmet, bring in Reflected Darkness of Dragapult. Dragapult looks like it has a pretty great matchup as his team. I wonder if he goes hard to... Oh, he lets us get Burn, which is very terrible for him. A Burn Corviknight is horrendous for my opponent. Deoxys comes in. I go hard King Galar because I've already been knocked off, so his subsequent knockoffs will do less damage, and he's taking Life Orb damage, killing himself rather than me killing him. So all I have to do is slack off whenever it comes in. This is Assault Vest Roaring Moon with Roost. Roost does work as a trademark, even though it is Assault Vest. It's pretty, like, okay. It's not... I don't think it's ever been that good. Because, like, the best Calm Minder is Keldeo, so... I don't see the point in Roaring Moon. Might be for Chi-Yu, but no one else sees Chi-Yu besides him. I don't get it. I mean, Roaring Moon's definitely good. I think it's just a good Pokemon to have, and it has some bulk for it to come in more often. I guess that's what it's for, okay? It's not... I gotta stop criticizing that. It's okay. So I bring out Dragapult on the flip turn that I expect. Instead, he hard switches into Cinderace, takes Hazards, brings him down to 48, but then he gets a Wish off. Screens up on his side, Rocks on my side, not in a great spot right now. I go for a U-turn. I think I just go to Great Tusk. Yep. I wonder if he goes for Will-O-Wisp or U-turn here. Goes for Will-O-Wisp. Tries to catch the Dragapult with a Wisp. I believe I go back to Dragapult. Yep. I just want to not let this thing just kill things. So Dragapult comes back in, taking very little damage. He switches out there. I think I did just go for darts. I want to get as much chip off as possible because I knew that I would have to get burned eventually. And I do have leftovers to offset the burn. Brings back out Cinderace. Interestingly. Now Cinderace is at a very annoying HP amount. So I go for a U-turn there. It's at max HP. It can really do some damage now, but I don't think he goes for Fireball here. Like I catch him with that. I don't know why it says reflect on my side. This reflect is not up. Read up here. Don't look at the visuals. This is wrong. I don't have reflect up. It's because core change as a trademark is messing with the replay. Anyway, he goes for another Wisp. I get a headlong off. I believe I would. I don't think I would have lived. I don't know if I would have lived that actually. By the way, I calced literally nothing in the tournament because I was on my phone the entire time. I was on my phone, so I did not calc a single thing the entire tournament. I have no idea if I lived there or not. Like, I just hoped I did, but he just did not care and just went for that. So I caught him again there. He has no reflectable on his side, so I can go for darts here. Brings out Corviknight. It's getting dangerously low. Danger. I believe I go for Hex here or Will-O-Wisp. Yeah, he brings out Vaporeon. Good play. Go for Hex. But Vaporeon's getting decently low. Go for darts. Keep it low. What if he goes for Flip Turn? Ooh, it's a 26 now. I think that might have been a misplay. I might want to heal that up. Brings out Cinderace. I think I'm fine to just... I think this is where I start just hexing it. No, I go for U-turn here. Because I'm like, eventually I have to just win this game with Dragapult. Because I think that's my best win con. It'll have to get burned. This Cinderace is a huge problem for my team. Nothing can really stop it. Ooh, that's annoying. I go for Headlong here to prevent Cinderace from really coming in there. I know want Cinderace to really heal up there. I believe I go for Knockoff rather than Rapid Spin. Because I don't want a Rapid Spin because then Cinderace could Core Change. And I would lose Hazards forever because Great Tusk is now dead. So I'd lose Rocks forever. Dragapult here prevents Corviknight from roosting because we kill it. He goes hard Roaring Moon here on the Hex. However, I believe he just dies the next turn from darts. Tries to catch something, does not catch it. Yep, just dies a Dragon Darts. Now, the game is very much in my favor at this point, I believe. I think I just go for a Wisp here. Goes for Terra Fairy. That was a pretty interesting play. He wanted to catch a Darts, which made sense because he did not have Reflect Up, and it could have been free. However, I wanted to Wisp the Vaporeon for long game. I want to Wisp the Vaporeon for long game. I also did have his Terra in mind. Go for a Hex there. I'm fine with letting Dragapult get burned at this point. I just want to get as much chip off at Cinderace as possible. He has no real switch into Hex whatsoever. Bring it down. It's now dead to Stealth Rock coming in. That is an absolutely massive blunder on the opponent's part. Cinderace is unable to come in on Hazard. I'm heavily in the driver's position right now. Goes for a Wish here, but I just go for a Hex. I believe he goes for a Flip Turn here. I wonder if he brings back Corviknight. That would make sense. Yes, okay. So I'm thinking here that he might want to defog. I don't know if I go to Kingambit. I think I just Hex, actually. Yeah, I do just Hex. Get 45% off. He does go for defog. Does let Cinderace come back in. This is super messed up. There is no Reflect Up. There are no Stealth Rocks up, and both are up visually. Very bugged right now. So around here is a time where dessert came out. And I have to deal with people asking me to try desserts through playing out this endgame, which I'm pretty sure I can win. But it's for $100, so I need to lock in because I can still throw this game away. It's very possible. Rocks are not up, so you can come back in. This thing is going to protect, I believe, and then get some health back. Deoxys could still crit through Slowking Galar. I have to think about how to beat that. Thundurus, I don't even know what it is at this point. I don't think Thundurus has come out a single time by this stage in the game. And so people are telling me to try cheesecake, try chocolate something cake. It wasn't just plain chocolate cake. It was like maybe chocolate cheesecake or something. People asked me to try cake while I'm trying to win 100 buccarinos from a Freezai tournament. So he brings out Deoxys. I go hard Soaking Galar as always. I believe Soaking Galar hard counters every time. There are no Stealth Rocks up. I was like, why did I take Stealth Rocks damage? I go for a Terra Fairy there. I do not want to risk a crit from knockoff because I know that if this thing just dies to hazard or recoil from that, if he dies to life or recoil, that'd be fine. I Sludge Bomb there because it was free and he sacks Cinderace. Pretty huge loss on the opponent's part. Could not have gone to Vaporeon in there. I had a Sludge Bomb coming out. Staying in would have been pretty terrible for him. I don't know about Thundurus, what it does. I think it might have been Scarf, or no, it was actually Boots the entire time. So I switched there to get Reflect Up, for sure, because I didn't know how much damage it would do. I'd go to Thunderous first. I cudgel it, bring it down 90%, and last order lives the hit from Thunderbolt because you only get one boosted attack. And then Vaporeon dies, and I just stay in here because I know that he has to either stay in which case Slowking Guard just comes out and Sludge Bombs that thing to death, or he switches, hope I choke, and then goes for some sort of win with Thunder. It's the only thing I'm scared of. So I actually just go for Cudgel here. Because Thunder is the only thing I was scared of. And the game is essentially over at this point. The guy forfeits it. And I wish... I say, good game. Had a great steak. Now I can cover some of it. Happy Mother's Day. Interesting note. The $100 I got from the Freezai tournament came nowhere close to the amount spent on the steak dinner. I said it was a nice place. My porterhouse was, if I remember correctly, $92 alone. And it's not the only thing we got. I could have ended it off on I paid for everyone's meal or I paid for my mom's meal with the money I won, but that would be a lie because it was nowhere near enough to cover it. I did, however, spend the $100 and bought her some roses for her upcoming birthday, which came later that month. We had a great time. I didn't spend much of it playing Showdown or even care at the tournament because everyone was stalling. I think the games I played when I was sitting down took up about, I want to say 20 minutes of a 2-hour sit down. So definitely did not feel like I was left out of the discussions or anything, or that I was like not present or whatever. I had a great Mother's Day and I had a great tournament. And thank you for the 100 buccarinos, everyone who joined and fodderized for me. This is Volcanoes Good, the only channel on YouTube that will say you should tell your parents that you love them. I dedicate this win to my mother. I love you.